Hey folks, Gary here. I hope you've enjoyed this little walk through the first few chapters of the book of Acts, looking at what takes place when the Holy Spirit comes upon the apostles and God is using them in ways that, boy, no one ever saw coming. And so today we're in chapter 4, verses 13, going to go down to 16. And Peter and John have found themselves in a little bit of trouble. Well, they didn't get themselves in trouble. God got them in trouble by healing a man. And it was in the temple, and that didn't so much get them in trouble. The Pharisees and the Sadducees and they don't have a problem with that, I don't think. They have a problem with all the teaching that Peter was doing afterwards when the Holy Spirit came upon them. And so they arrested them, and now we're in verse 13 going to 16, and let's see how this goes. Now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John, because the Holy Spirit was upon them, they perceived that they were uneducated common men, and they were astonished, and they recognized that they had been with Jesus. So there's the first part right here. They're astonished at the teaching that Peter is doing. How can he possibly know all this? How could he speak like this? He's a fisherman, right? Not a slight against fishermen. I think you guys are awesome, but not the most highly educated people in the Bible at that time. And Peter's speaking like he's really educated. And he is, because the Holy Spirit is dwelling inside of him and doing things that you just can't explain. And they recognized he was with Jesus, that John was with Jesus and Peter was with Jesus. There's a big truth right there. Did people recognize that you're with Jesus, that you've been with Jesus? Going on to verse 14. But seeing the man who was healed standing beside them, they had nothing to say in opposition. But when they had commanded them to leave the council, they conferred with one another, saying, "What shall we do with these men? For that a notable sign has been performed through them is evident to all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and we cannot deny it." What can they say? They can't say anything. The evidence is right in front of them. And that's what happens when God moves through you. When God moves through you and miracles start to take place and just really fantastic things start to take place. What can people say? Well, what they can say is this: God is really good. And that's the point, is to show people the love of Christ. And so when you show people love of Christ, what can they say other than, man, I like to get to know that guy. I like to get to know that Jesus. Cool stuff.